Say you don't like it, no. No, you don't like it. Let me read out the thing. Let me read. Say you don't like it, no. No, you don't like it. Let me rewrite the thing. Let me read. Say you don't like it, no. No, you don't like it. Let me rewrite the thing. Let me read. Say you don't like it. No, you don't like it, no. Let me rewrite the thing. Let me in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Rewriters Room. We are the men with the pen. I'm 1/3 of our illustrious trio, Armon Sadler. Some people, mainly just myself, have heard of me as the John Cena of journalism, the Brock Lesnar of broadcasting, the Roman Reigns of rhetoric, the Paul Heyman of podcasting. I'm not here alone. Here are my guys. CC, how you doing, brother?
What's good? It's CC, best rapper and producer in the whole wide world. Got body because I consume healthy products and do towel curls. Benevolent servant to the earth and philanthropist. And every phrase I say is a gem, just like I am at this. You could put any nigga next to me, dope ass women gonna say right under their breath, yo girl, who the fuck man's is this? I may talk a lot, but only got one thing to say: love yourself and keep going. You are the world, give all you can, take care of your body, your people, and your land. Where the fuck is my nigga Chan?
Going on, reporting live from the mid-car mafia. One thing about me, and that this is just the shell in me. I love two things in wrestling. I love a gimmick match. I love a stipulation ladder match, and I love a tournament. I love a bracket. I love triple threat into another triple threat into a singles match. I love a gauntlet match, and so I'm so excited about this IC tournament, man. I love just because also it's just so fun because it's like, yeah, bro, just get 12 guys who aren't really doing anything and just have like 20 minutes a night. Just let them have fun. I think it's just a good way to get people TV time, build stories. It can branch off into other stories. I think it's good for Braun too, because while Braun is excellent, don't get me wrong, he's still not like, especially in his heel form, the craziest character. And so him having like a super heavy character feud probably wouldn't make like a lot of sense. He just did Sammy. Like, I think the tournament plays better to like his I'm a beast and okay, this champion is challenging me. Like, I think that's a good spot for him too, where he doesn't have to like carry this whole feud basically. So I'm just excited. I just think it's a fun thing. I'm sure we'll get, some cool, spots, some cool finishes, and I'm personally pulling for Pete Dunne. I just love me some bruiserweight personally, but I personally do not think Jey Uso's going to win this tournament. I've seen that online. I don't really see that happening. But he may win the tournament. I don't see him winning the belt, I guess is what I should say. But I could see Pete Dunne just because Pete and Braun are both like NXT guys. Triple H, loves his children. So I can see that being a fun little, Royal Rumble like third match or some shit like that, whatever they're doing it.
If you walk in the house, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say Braun's not losing this title anytime soon.
No,
not at all. Not at all. If you walk in Braun's house and he say that dog don't bite, you gonna believe him?
No, I know his dog's bite.
That nigga had that nigga on the leash. That was like 6
running into the stadium, bro. I'm like, when did they even start doing it? I know Cody Rhodes brought his dog around. I'm like, when y'all got dogs all of a sudden on the road? Like,
hey man, WWE is a dog friendly company, man.
If you could bring your dog to the office at WWE, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to apply.
You probably can't up there in Connecticut.
That's also a slight shot to AEW because you remember Larry was involved in CM Punk's backstage brawl with the Elite. Think about it.
That is shots. It's layer. #layers.
Think about it.
Wait, speaking of that, just real quick, like the last time I saw Punk, he went to the hard campsite again, and I'm like, yo, this nigga's an asshole. He keep doing it.
Hey man,
gotta let niggas know, bro.
Hey man, the grass is greener, and he's watering it, and I'm allowing himself to be watered as well. So happy to be back with you all, listeners. Of course, we are in our season-long rewrite of the legendary, iconic Bloodline story that we just came out of. Today, we will get into one of the biggest moments, the lead up, and one of the biggest moments in that reign. And obviously, we got some incredible moments after this. But this was just one of the ones where we were like, "Wow, he really just did that." But before we get there, we got to shout out the network. Shout out to the A Show RNC network. Make sure that you're tapped into the A Show every Tuesday on Patreon, Wednesdays on Public. This week they had Bri Bosa, one of the Royal Rumble pool winners, on the show. Of course, the War Report every Thursday on Patreon, Fridays on Public with Cyrus and Quan. Quan should be back this week, so can't wait for that. And Meals and J5 are giving y'all some of the challenge talk on the Patreon. So make sure that you tap into the Patreon to hear about the challenge. And speaking of the challenge, one of these gentlemen will be stepping up to challenge me for my trivia throne once again. I've held this title very long. It hasn't gotten tiring. It's only gotten more fun, but it's also gotten a bit more challenging over time. So today we will see if one of them will get me out of here finally. I will hand it over to you, CC.
Oh man, this is gonna be a tough one. All right, guys. So it will be handling the trivia today. So today we're gonna get into the Edge and Daniel Bryan portion of the Roman Reigns story. So we just finished up Kevin Owens. So this is that run going up to WrestleMania 37. And for trivia, we wanted to stay on topic for what we got for the pod today. So I'm gonna have a couple trivia questions for Edge and Brian. Their careers are both so expansive, and they've been in the ring with so many different people that if I was to, the time that it would have taken to put together some really, really, really cool trivia questions, I was like, oh, I don't got enough time for that. So I'm gonna keep it a little bit high level, but this should also be a little bit tricky. We'll see how it goes. So, Armon, are you ready? Channing, are you ready?
Born ready.
Let's go. Okay. So this first question is gonna be, just say it whenever you know it or whatever. And it's a two-parter. So what is the first WWE title that Daniel Bryan and Edge won, like respectively, for each of them?
Tag
Daniel
title for
Bryan
Edge.
was the US.
That's true. Yep. Brian, Armand, you got that.
Is it the tag title for Edge or the European title?
Nope.
Hardcore?
Nope.
Intercontinental.
IC?
Yeah, Armand got that one.
Damn, he played. I didn't know Edge did that first. Shout out to him.
So I'm about 6 to 7 months after that moment. I was like, from watching that time, there was not a lot of once Rock vacated the Intercontinental title, there was not a lot of people around to pick that up from him. So yeah, that
wasn't he like wild young when he started? Like,
yeah, dude,
19,
it was like
something like that.
It was like his third or fourth month in the company. If not, it was definitely within his first year. Yeah. Okay. So Armand is up 2-0. There are about 5 points left on the board. So this can be a swing if this goes. Okay. So the next question is, which WWE title have neither of them won?
The hardcore title.
That's technically yes. Technically.
Okay. The Universal title?
Yes, that's the answer. Because they've both been WWE champion and they've both been world heavyweight champion, but neither of them have been Universal champion. That's why that one's like a little bit of a.
And I think they're both kind of salty about it.
Slight trick question.
Oh, 100%. Listen, I realized like once I saw that piece of trivia, that's when I realized how much of an asshole Roman was. I was like, oh, you doing this on purpose, you motherfucker.
Low-key almost said 24/7 title. RIP.
I was thinking that. I was thinking
also technically.
I was thinking
the Divas title probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
NXT.
I was thinking of all those like non-major titles.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love that we started talking about gimmick matches at the beginning. So I remember last episode we were talking about gimmick PLE. So among that gimmick PLE pool of PLEs that we've had, Elimination Chamber, Money in Bank, all that different stuff, right? Name one PLE match type. It's centered around this type of match type for that PLE. So name one of the PLE match types that Edge has won, but Daniel Bryan has never won. And this is up for 2 points.
Money in the Bank.
One. Nope.
Both of them got the first one. It was Royal Rumble, and it was.
Wait, Daniel Bryan never won the Royal Rumble for real?
Never. Yeah. No. Never.
That's crazy, so silly. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
I think technically that might be true, but it also might not be. I didn't check for
Edge. Edge was definitely never in that.
King of the Ring is the other one, Channing. Yep, that's
a good one.
Daniel Bryan has never been King of the Ring.
Yeah, wouldn't make sense.
Okay, so Armand's currently up 3-2. There are 3 points left on the board. This is getting spicy.
The
Okay.
American Dragon kind of sucks.
All right. So I got some bonus ones just in case we go into crazy. But this next one is a chance for Shannon to tie, and if so, we can jump into the bonus ones. But I might just do the bonus ones anyway. So the next one is we're gonna flip it the other way. So name one PLE match type that Daniel Bryan has won, but Edge never won.
Chamber elimination.
Yep, there we go. Holy shit,
Hold
we
on, hold
tied
on,
up.
hold on. Edge won an elimination chamber.
He won an elimination chamber?
He beat up Kofi before one, and then took his spot, and then won the world title after he lost the WWE title in the chamber match earlier that night. Sorry.
There you go. There you go.
Gotta pull your card there.
That does technically count. I was only looking at the ones where he was like set for the one. All right, so that's actually good though, because what we'll do is we'll just go into the other ones because these are also going to cover it. So we're gonna stay in elimination chamber. Armon is currently up 3-2. We're gonna nix that last
Edge
one.
never won NXT.
So how many elimination chamber matches has Daniel Bryan been in?
3.
Oh,
2.
4.
Just the one?
5.
5?
5. It was 5.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Armon officially won.
What a sicko.
How many has he won? That's an extra bonus question.
1.
He won in 2019.
That's 2.
You're thinking of the wrong. You was close, Armand, but that's the wrong year. So he actually won his first elimination chamber and his last elimination chamber. The first one was in 2012, right. And then the second one was in 2021. This nigga.
Wait, no. He won in 2019 too, because that was the one Kofi competed in.
So when I said 3, I was right anyway.
His breakout performance.
Oh yeah,
and then he lost.
Yeah.
So he's won 3. He won 2012, 19, 21.
Woo! God damn, this nigga really did win.
Man.
This nigga Daniel Bryan think he's Shawn Michaels or something. God damn.
That boy good, man.
He did good. 3 in a row at one point.
The boy's good.
Dragging it.
Oh wait, no, it says. Hold on a second. I think we might got the years messed up.
Bro, I know he didn't win 4. That's crazy.
No,
it's
definitely
have some respect, bro.
But the crazy thing is he did 3 in a row. He did 12, 13, and 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 13. Randy Orton won. I'm pretty sure.
14, do you remember who won 14?
14.
Sheamus.
Actually, I think you're mixing up the years. Randy won 14, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right, because
13
So 13 was
Bray Wyatt?
CM Punk.
No, it wasn't.
John Cena? Which one did
Jack Swagger?
Yes, it was
Jack Swagger. Yep.
He fucking rolled up. I think he rolled up Randy Orton, if I'm not mistaken.
Because Jack Swagger competed for the World Heavyweight Championship against Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania 29.
Bro, go back and look at who was in the ring for the Elimination Chamber match.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
So Armand, you do keep the crown. I apologize, Shan. I know I messed up with the questions, but he still got them right with all the extra ones too.
I'm surprised I knew all that stuff about Daniel Bryan.
This was definitely the toughest one yet. This one had me sweating over here when it was 3-2 going into the last question. Yeah.
I'm gonna be at Adam Pearce's office, bro. I got screwed.
Yeah, this was a tough one. I wanted to I didn't want to get too crazy because if you look at their careers, especially like the way that we overlap, we basically talk about the last 30 years of WWE. So I'm oh shit, that's a long time. Let me try to condense it to some championships or whatnot.
Yeah, and both of them had Bryan stepped out of the ring for 3 years. Edge was gone for 10. So it's just trying to remember which years they were active for and all that. Yes, it's a lot.
That's wild. Yeah, you're right.
But we're going to jump into our rewrite for this week. So when we last left off, Roman Reigns was dispatching of Kevin Owens. And that same night that he defeated Kevin Owens in the last man standing match, Edge made his return to the WWE after being out with injury for 7 months, and he won the Royal Rumble. And so there was all the commotion about who was he going to pick. There was Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion at the time. There was Roman Reigns, of course, the Universal champion. Edge even took a trip to NXT and pulled up on Finn Balor and Pete Dunne and said, yo, what's up?
You want that problem, bro. Be for real. Be for real. You ain't want that following. With heel Finn at that point, bro, you did not want that smoke, bro.
And it was actually really good foreshadowing for their later feud when Finn was part of Judgment Day.
The Day of Judgment.
And we got a pretty elite road to WrestleMania which went through Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, and then, of course, the epic main event of night 2 of WrestleMania 37, which included the Smash 'em, Stack 'em, 1, 2, 3. But if we were going to rewrite this journey, how are we going to do it, fellas?
I'll get us kicked off this time because I want to get silly. I'm like VIC. I want to get silly off rip. So this is what we're gonna do. All right.
I was listening to that song today. That is such a good song, bro. He kind of spit it, bro.
That beat was crazy. That beat was crazy.
And to have two songs and really be Get Silly and Wobble, shout out to you, bro.
Bruh, if I made Wobble and I had like the right publishing or whatever, the way that I would just literally walk around like I'm getting paid every time your family parties. What are you talking about? But
If more than three black people gather, you making some money. Just know that.
or if it's a white wedding, 100%. I've been to 2 or 3 of them in the last couple of years. They do it every time. But so all right, so we at Royal Rumble, right? Edge just won. He back or whatever, right? Roman like, all right, cool. Edge, you might as well go ahead and challenge me. You know what I mean? Ain't no need for all that other little bullshit. Edge like, all right, wait, as you guys say, you went to NXT or whatever. And then Roman's like, you know what? Fuck it. Whoever wins the elimination chamber, they could challenge me, but I'm gonna have to go see him that same night or whatever, right? So then everybody's excited about this because as much as people are wary of Roman and what he's doing or whatever, they're excited to have the opportunity to get that championship spot because they don't have to do match by match by match by match to become the contender. You go in one match, you win that one, boom, you got a title shot. Everybody's in the back hype or whatever, right? We're getting the backstage camera of people seeing this being announced, whatever. Apollo's back there, think he's gonna get a chance, you know what I mean? Like it's like that level type stuff, right? So we still get some of the canon stuff. So Rude and Ziggler are still trying to get into it with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro in the way. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro clean them boys up or whatever. And then we eventually like get to Elimination Chamber. Rude and Ziggler never forget about that or whatever, by the way. And we got Sami Zayn in the match, we got Kevin Owens in the match, who previously was had some static with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro because they weren't sure whether he was going to turn on them or whatnot. They were very wary of him. We got Corbin and then obviously Jey Uso. So from Daniel Bryan and Cesaro's perspective, they're just like, okay, we're kind of like the only guys in it where we know where we can trust what we're gonna do at least or whatever. So their hope and what they're telling each other beforehand is like, listen, I think we have a better shot. I would rather it just be me versus you. I know we've already done this before or whatever, but I'd rather, it be me versus you. Everybody else in here is kind of slimy or whatever. You're the only other stand-up guy. They're agreeing on that, or whatever, right? They go into EC. Daniel Bryan eventually wins or whatever. We get the same thing with the except for like I think the actual match is a minute and 30. We're not even doing that with this one. Roman comes in or whatever. He goes for the spear. He gets put into submission, turns around, like he gets out of the submission by like flipping Daniel Bryan up in the air and then putting him into the guillotine. It's a one motion. We get this boy the fuck out of here. That's what happens. And because this just happened right after Elimination Chamber finish or whatever, Cesaro is like still like sitting up at the top of the ramp, just like kind of like watching. And he's just like, you can see how mad he is or whatever, because he's like, at that moment, you're just like, damn, like he just waited to capitalize on that person that just got that kicked that got their ass kicked and trying to win the elimination chamber or whatever. Like he's really a bad guy. But then Edge blows right by Cesaro, and Cesaro sees that and he's like, what? Edge comes in, spears the shit out of Roman or whatever. And at that point, he's like, listen, I'm challenging for the title or whatever. And as uh Cesaro goes to the back or whatever, Edge is doing his thing. Cesaro goes to the back, and you see like him put like flip the curtain or whatever a little bit. They're showing you just enough to where you can see like when they flip the curtain, but not like behind it or whatever. And then after he goes through, you see like someone else who was already on another side of that curtain kind of like leave it open and then like follow him, but you can't tell who it is. It's like their back is towards you or whatever, right? And then at that point or whatever, Edge goes back up to the ramp or whatever. He does like a celebration at the beginning. That's how the PLE is going to end. And then that person, you can kind of see them stick their head out of the curtain with the hoodie again. It's just very much in the back. If you weren't paying attention, you didn't catch it at first or whatever, right? Next week, Pierce is like, hey, Edge, you know what was going on with that shit? I looked back at the footage. It looked like somebody was out there. That wasn't one of our guys. And Edge is like, hey, I was going to ask you about that. But it seems like, you don't know either. And Pierce is like, well, I'm well aware of your history. You're a great superstar. You're a legend. You're definitely, a Hall of Famer. But what comes with that, and as like I said, I know your history. There's a lot of people who don't like you. So who knows who that could have been? I would just keep an eye out if I were you. And he tells Adam, like, hey, I've been around the block a few times. I know how to watch my back, right? So then Daniel Bryan and Jay, they have their fast lane match or whatever. It still ends in that count out so that they can have the cage match or whatever. But when they get to the cage match, they're having the cage match, and this shit is just all shenanigans. Rude and Ziggler come out. They're like, listen, we should have been in an elimination chamber, not this nigga getting like not only this one shot with Jay, but then he gets another one with the cage match or whatever. Fuck him. We get him the fuck out of here. Then Cesaro comes up and he starts cleaning them up or whatever, and Daniel Bryan ends up winning or whatever, and like Cesaro is like up at the ramp, giving him a head nod or whatnot, and then from there, Edge like goes on to beat Jey Uso, become the special enforcer or whatever, and after all that is set up in the weeks leading up, we see Cesaro tell Daniel Bryan backstage, he's like, listen, you don't really need Edge as a special enforcer. I just was there for you last week. It was me and you who got into the chamber together when we were in the chamber. We were working pretty together. I feel like I got your back or whatever. Plus, I don't really trust that he's really gonna have your back like that. Who knows? He might help you lose to Roman for all we know. And Daniel Bryan's like, I appreciate it, but I'm fine with no support. I don't really need anyone. So whether it's like you or Edge, I appreciate there being somebody there to make sure nothing happens to me, but I don't need it. I'll be fine. So Daniel Bryan walks away, and Cesaro looks off like he's like a little disappointed or whatever. And then, Sami Zayn is like seen lurking like in the background. You can see like Cesaro kind of walk off too, and then Sammy's lurking in the background. And he's like kind of smiling. And then you see just like a hand, in like a black hoodie pull Sami Zayn, as if they're going to go and walk their own separate ways, but they're a little bit more off camera. So you're just like, what the hell is that? So then we get to WrestleMania. Everybody does their promos and whatnot. Um, and then we get to Fastlane, whatever, right? Edge is the special enforcer. Everything goes the same with DB actually accidentally hit him with a chair. Edge goes crazy with both of their ass or whatever. And then when Edge walked backstage, then you can see that shadowy figure. Like, how when you're looking at the ramp and there's, from your perspective, there's a left side and the right side. Edge walks in to the gorilla on the left side. You see a shadowy figure come from the right side, that side of the curtain, walk across like the back of the entrance where like the logo would be, and then across to follow him into that curtain. You're just like, yo, who the fuck is this or whatever, right? And then after that point, Daniel Bryan and Jay, they have a street fight or whatever. During that street fight, they end up going backstage. And because they're backstage, there's wrestlers and stuff back there, right? So Sami Zayn is just like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a free shot in at Daniel Bryan or whatever, right? And then like, you see the camera following them, but it also like takes another angle to where you can see Cesaro like looking and being like, what the hell is going on over there? But like considering that Sammy just kicked him in the face, you're kind of thinking like, wait, did you just see that? And like you're not doing anything? What's going on? Or whatever, right? So then we like get, everybody does their promos leading up to WrestleMania 37. Cesaro's not seen during this time. So during the match, Edge is able to outsmart Daniel Bryan and like just kill him with the chair. Like he basically just plays it up like, we got Roman out the way. We always talked about how good it would be if it was just me and you at WrestleMania 37. I know he's technically in a match, but now it's just me and you. Let's do it. And it's supposed to be like an honorable one-on-one moment, but it's Edge. So he gets over on him. Edge has a chair. He beats the shit out of Daniel Bryan. He turns around and uses it on Roman. And then the shadowy figure is there with the chair. It's Christian. Christian is showing up at WrestleMania.
I knew you were gonna get Christian involved. I I knew it. I feel like you've done this before too, where either you or Chan got Christian involved in one of your stories. Y'all are nuts.
So it's Christian, and Christian also has a chair. So Edge is standing there with a chair, and Christian's standing there with a chair. And then Edge like makes a face where he's like, "Oh shit, watch out!" And he like braces and grabs a chair. And then like Edge kind of like ducks because he's just like, "Okay, what's behind me?" And it was a trick. Christian just starts beating the shit out of Edge with the chair. Now we got two chairs in the ring. Guess what it's time for? We got to make a little music, concerto or whatever. So then Daniel Bryan hits the running knee on Christian, and then Daniel Bryan go back to get Roman because at this point Edge and Roman is like kind of down. So Daniel Bryan's like, let me just go finish off Roman or whatever. I'm gonna have another WrestleMania moment. Crowd is hype as fuck. But as soon as he turn around and go get Roman, boom, uppercut by Cesaro or whatever. And then Christian and Cesaro just lay out Daniel Bryan and Edge, just fuck them up. They stack them and then leave them for Roman to pin or whatever. And Christian and Cesaro form the new League of Nations. Boom.
Y'all want so much for Cesaro. Like I want someone to believe in me the way y'all believe in Cesaro. Like y'all want so much for him, and I love that for y'all. But like,
The
and
only way he can do anything for me is in a faction. I'm sorry.
that's fair. But also, Armon, like
2021 League of Nations.
you laugh at Christian Cage being involved, but like he was both the TNA champion and the AEW champion. Like there was a moment there where it was like, oh, is Christian gonna like? Is he gonna finally do it? Like, is it time? Is it Christian Cage time? And like he's doing solid work now. I personally think a trios championship is stupid. It's too many belts, but you know he had them, and it's cool. He is the whole daddy thing, but dude, it almost happened for Christian. Like there was a moment there where it was like, oh, him and Edge might like be running wrestling like that. That was a thing people were worried about at the time, bro.
So the reason why I went with this angle is because like I looked at my rewrites personally for the last couple episodes, and everything was like so Roman and Jay and Paul driven. And I thought about it, and I was like, if you look at Roman's entire reign, that last Universal title reign, not everything was dictated like by his and the people directly in his group actions. There would be things that would happen outside of it, and he would be like, "All right, guess that works in my favor." So I was like, "Fuck it, let's just turn it up for this one."
Yeah, especially earlier in his reign, it was more like, oh, Roman is the champion and there is a championship match, just kind of like standard stuff. It wasn't until like basically after this match where it becomes like, oh no, like Roman's the mountain. Like it's just people just have to beat Roman. There doesn't have to be any kind of tournament or any kind of like storyline. It's just who's next.
Exactly.
Who's next?
And
John
then
Cena's back. All right. Brock Lesnar's back. All right. Like it wasn't even like a story. It was just feeding people to Roman.
that's also the other big reason why I went with this, because like I was looking around, and if you just read through like SmackDown results around this time, it's like, bro, outside of Roman's story, there's not much
Yeah,
story
man.
in this
We're
shit. So I was
starving.
like, fuck it, let's just add another one.
Like we talk
Yeah.
about it now, but like, and it's cool. Jey Uso's like the Yeet things popping off and shit. But part of the main event Jey Uso thing, it was like, oh, he's like one of 6 people here who can like who we got. Like he kind of had to be in the main event because Roman wasn't gonna wrestle. So like it was like forced, and it just happened to work, which is fire.
Bro,
But like,
Biggie was wrestling. I think it was like Biggie, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Sami Zayn for like 3 or 4 months. Just a
yeah, man,
mixture of that.
yeah, man. I can go.
Sure.
So in my storyline, Edge, Adam Copeland still wins the Royal Rumble. And per use, as Royal Rumble champions typically do, or winners, not champions, they do the whole tour, kind of like we said. And so it goes similar to how it goes. But the thing that's different about this is that when he goes to Raw, Drew comes out and is like, Edge, you're a legend. I'd be honored to face you. Like, it'd be a great match if you chose this championship. He pulls up on NXT, and Finn's not like gracious like that, but Finn's like, yeah, you're a big deal. I'll see you face to face. Comes to SmackDown, and he like cuts the ring, and he's like, all right, Roman, let's come out and do it. And like Jey Uso comes out, and he's like, Roman's not coming. Like Roman has got other things to do. He not worried about you. You would be so lucky to face Roman Reigns for this championship. And Edge is like, yeah, okay, like very funny. Come out here now. Like, what's gonna happen next? You gonna like jump me from behind? I thought that was your job. Boom, Edge gets jumped. And so while Roman Reigns is beating the like dog shit, and this is at the time too, I think like this was still Thunderdome-ish era. And so like a lot of what was kind of cool about that era, which was a terrible time, I understand, was like that you could really hear them talking. Like you could hear them during the match, like talking trash to one another. And some people like Charlotte, Roman were like really good at it. Bailey too. And so one thing you hear Roman saying is like, yeah, you thought you was gonna get me. He's like, I got you first. Like it's embarrassing that you think you would want to face anyone but me. And then after the match, it's like he beats Edge like to the point where like they do the stretcher, Adam Pearce, security comes out. We're talking like off TV. And then he gets to the top of the ramp and Paul's like, see, you got to him before he get to you. Now you don't have to worry about that anymore. Next SmackDown, Adam Pearce is pissed. He's like, now we need a number one contender. Let's do the Elimination Chamber. That goes similar to how it goes now with Daniel Bryan pulling off the win and Roman being like, you're going to face me at Fastlane. I mean, you're going to face me right after the match. In this match, similar to the other one, Roman Reigns wins very quickly with the guillotine with the interference from Jay. Daniel Bryan goes to Adam Pearce on SmackDown and is like, it was ridiculous that you made me face Roman right after a match. And it's also ridiculous you keep letting Jey Uso come into the match. Like, you have eyes. You understand this keeps happening. You shouldn't be letting it happen. And kind of like you highlighted, CC2, this is before Roman's at the peak of his powers. And so, like, someone like Adam Pearce could still kind of, like we saw with the Royal Rumble, like, get over on him. Like, that was, honestly, now I'm saying it, like, that's probably the last time someone got over on Roman Reigns until Cody Rhodes beat him. So when Adam Pearce got Kevin Owens to essentially, like, replace him. Like, maybe Jey Uso and Sammy, but, like, in the end, they didn't beat him. Like, they beat him in a tag match, but they didn't take the title off him. Like, he didn't really lose. But anyway, he's like, okay, at Fastlane, it'll be a strap match with you and Roman. Jey Uso's banned from ringside. Paul Heyman's banned from ringside. If they come out, not only does Roman lose the match, but he also loses his title. And so Roman's like, you can't do this. Like, this is, you don't make the rules around here. I do. And Adam Pearce is like, you are still under contract. You still, what is your contract is not up until after WrestleMania. This is like some made up shit. I know it's not true. But he was like, your contract's not up to after WrestleMania. If you still have the championship, then you can negotiate with me then. And he's like, fine, whatever. Fastlane hits, strap match is happening. Jey Uso and like that, the generic hoodie that they love to have these Samoans sneak up to matches in, the black one zipped up. He comes out like that, mask covered. You think he's gonna interfere with the strap match. Both men are exhausted, but then you think you know me. Edge, oh my God, Edge is back. Can you believe it? Edge storms, spears Jey Uso. Jey Uso had a chair, so he just thing where he drops a chair. Edge picks it up, slams it on the ground, goes into the match, and he's about to hit Roman because Roman, got him off TV. But Daniel Bryan stops him. He's like, no, like, I want to win straight up. Like, I know I'm better than Roman. I don't need you helping me getting in the way of this. And Edge is like, who are you talking to? Like, you know who I am? Like, I'm Edge. Like, he's like, get off me. And then Daniel Bryan, like, does the thing where he like won't let go of the chair, and they kind of have the tug of war. And then eventually Roman gets up, and then Daniel Bryan like lets go of the chair, running needs Roman. Edge hits Daniel Bryan with the chair, hits Roman with the chair, goes out of the ring, grabs the title belt, hits both of them with the title belt, stands in the ring, title up. TV cuts off Fastlane. Edge is in the ring with the title. On SmackDown, it's announced we will now be having a triple threat match at WrestleMania 37. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge. This match, the lead up to this match, all of the promos that Edge are cutting are basically like, I never lost my title. I'm finally getting it back. Roman Reigns thinks that he's like the craziest person in the game, but I'm the rated R superstar. Daniel Bryan's like, Roman hasn't done anything without, Jey Uso. Like, he really, like, Jey Uso is the only reason he keeps winning. Like, he's kind of giving you that kind of like, not CM Punk level, like, breaking kayfabe, but like, just like, I'm talking about what's literally happened. Like, you guys all see this. And so what starts to happen is that starts to get in Roman's head. And so Roman is like, you know what, Jey, don't come out. If you come out, I'll beat you up. And Paul's like, no, my tribal chief, you can't do this. He's like, no. I am better than Daniel Bryan. I am better than Edge. I'll beat both of them just fine. Match happens. And the match, without Jey Uso's interference, Roman Reigns wins. It's a triple threat match, so there's DQ. So he does the chair spots, the table spots. You have your fun spots, but he beats them both, rack them, stack them, and pins them. Now he's a champion. And also, what now is kind of like the storyline too is that now he's in this position to like renegotiate his contract. So now he has even more leverage over Adam Pearce. And the reason I wanted to do it that way is because like I really like the thing to me that always stood out with the Stack'em thing was like, oh, he's just like a force of nature. And I really wanted there to be because it, especially like I said, once we got past this point, you knew he wasn't losing, so it wasn't really about the match. But I really wanted him to have at least one match where he won clean. And it was like, oh, he just can't lose. It's not that he just like has the unlimited supply of goons who are also his cousins. It's also that no, he's just incredible. Like, and I think having that Herculean moment, because again, this is like the first moment in front of fans, and it's just Roman Reigns soloing Daniel Bryan and Edge. I think you would like shut down Tampa, bro. Like people would lose their mind if it's just like because you're thinking like, oh, they're gonna kick out, and it's just like, no, he just beat them both. And then to have Jey Uso come out and be like, I knew he could do it. That'd be like a funny spot too. But just I wanted Roman to like win one clean. And then now we get into like the reign of terror where like he has control over the company because his contract, he has the belt, and he also has this sense of like, I can't be stopped. Like I am the tribal chief. Like, and I've proved it.
Yeah, and him having leverage would play perfectly into when he brought Jimmy Uso back after Daniel Bryan was banished from the company. So I like that. That's swell.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I love about that is that it takes a a superstar who was booed at one point, and you have him go over two people that those same fans that were booing would be like, yeah, you're not as good as them, and it's like, word, I just stacked them niggas. What the fuck is you talking about?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's really brilliant too. Because when I look back, like in hindsight, that really was a statement. Like I know me personally, I was going into that match thinking Roman was losing. Like this was
Same.
before we really
100%.
knew. Like it was
I
before
thought he
we
wasn't
knew.
taking the pin, but I thought he was losing the belt.
Yeah, like I thought Edge was gonna pin Bryan, to be honest, and
Yeah.
like that's what was in my mind. Like I was 100% convinced Roman was going to lose. And then when you see it done that way, like there's layers to this. Like one, what the fuck? Like I've never seen someone do this. Two, of course, what we've been talking about is how those two both left the company within the next 2 years. But also, it really is just a big fuck you to everyone who didn't want to embrace Roman as a face. Like the guy who won the Royal Rumble and y'all were hyped to come back, I hit him with a concerto. The guy that y'all love, the other ultimate underdog, the guy who was on this, I've never won a Royal Rumble. This could be one of my last WrestleManias. Like him, I packed him up too, and I put them on top of each other.
That's the thing. It wasn't like he fell on top of him. It was like, no, I deliberately dragged him over here to make a point that you can't touch me. Like,
and when we talk about imagery, like you were getting to Armon, you're talking like here's your wholesome goat, here's your wholesome goat, here's the rated R superstar, super slimy guy. So it don't matter if you want to say I'm not as nice as the nice guy or I'm not as slimy as the slimy guy. I just beat both of them motherfuckers. Now what?
Yeah, at the same time, like I didn't pin one and leave one just laying there to give him that like plausible deniability. Where if he comes for a title match later, it makes sense because if you think about it, Edge returning in the summer for his title match, like I was excited about it. I was like, okay, cool, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, nigga, you just got stacked at WrestleMania. Like, well, why am I supposed to believe that you're gonna beat this guy in a singles match when he dominated two of you in a triple threat match?
Like usually in a triple threat match, there's one loser. There was two losers.
Yeah.
Y'all both got pinned in a triple threat match. When is that? As like I can't even think about a time where it's been like, no, they both pinned. Like they know they both lost. There's no, like I said, there's no deniability, there's no rematch clause. Like it'd be like if Kurt Angle made two people tap out to the ankle lock. It's like like you can't even pretend you didn't tap, y'all both tap. What a moment. And I also just want to say I never really liked how Daniel Bryan got in the match. I just throw it out there. I got it because it was like you wanted the match, but the kind of like it's my last WrestleMania. It's like, well, like I felt for Edge when he was like, "Fuck that, Brian. Why is he in my match?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, bro. Like, how did he get in here?" Like, that was like one of the things where like I wasn't really rooting for Edge, but I was like, "I agree with you, bro. They should not have
Yeah.
done that to you."
It was like almost that they tried to fake recreate his 2014 moment. But he was just a lot more whiny this time. And I mean, it ultimately worked because they were all desperate in their own ways. And it worked, but it was just like Brian, like if I had to be like someone coming up with odds on FanDuel, like for me, it would be like Edge would have the highest odds of winning. And then it will be Roman, and then it will be Brian. I like there was one person I absolutely did not think was walking away from that match with the title, and it was Brian. So yeah, it was like I understood it, but it was tough to fully buy in to him being in that match. But played out how it did. These niggas got stacked. And it's so funny we're doing this on the just after the weekend where he finally won the AEW World
Bro,
Title. Like
right? Yeah, that's crazy.
fucking hilarious.
He is a AEW champion. Shout out to
Finally.
him, bro. Shout out to Bleeding.
Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. My rewrite, very, very simple. Everything that happened is gonna stay the same up until we get to Elimination Chamber. In reality, as we all know, Edge came out after the match with Roman and Brian, and speared him. I want Edge to get involved in that match. Brian just won the Elimination Chamber. He's super tired, but we know Brian is one of the most resilient motherfuckers ever. Like that man had an incredible match with Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series 2018, one of the best matches I've ever watched. He was getting thrown around, his neck was getting cooked, but he was staying in it. Like there was time where I thought, yo, Brian might make Brock tap out. That's crazy. So he brings that same resilience to this match with Roman. Roman tries to spear him. He puts him in the yes lock. He's pulling out all these different submissions. He's got counters for days on Roman. And it's to a point where like Roman's getting pissed and Jay's getting pissed. So as per usual in a Roman match, we get a nice ref bump. Jey Uso comes out, super kicks Brian a bunch of times. Roman is setting up for the spear. And Edge's music hits. Edge runs out. Jey Uso runs up the ramp to try to get him. Edge spears Jey Uso. Edge is running towards the ring, gets into one of those trading blows battles with Roman. Roman tries to clothesline him. Edge hits the ropes. Brian stands up at this time, so he's standing next to Roman. Roman sees Edge coming for the spear, and Roman gets out of the way. Edge spears Brian. And then Roman, Superman punches Edge, throws him out of the ring, sets up for a spear, spears Brian, gets the pin. Brian is pissed, like pissed, fuming, and Edge is pissed too because he really did have good intentions of coming out to help Brian, but his plan was foiled. And so Edge says, "You know what? Fuck it." So Edge walks towards the ramp. Roman Reigns has the mic at this point. He's like, "It's not your turn. Your turn will be at WrestleMania if you choose me." And Edge does the little title move, signaling that he's picking Roman Reigns. So Brian is even more pissed because not only are you getting the WrestleMania match, you interrupted my match and made me lose, and you speared me. So we get to the next SmackDown. Brian calls out Edge. He says, "Man, like you had your title match. I damn near had the match won. Like, why would you get involved?" And Edge said, "You didn't have the match won. Roman and Jay were gonna do what they always did. I wanted to stand up for justice. I wanted to give you a fair chance to win the title." Ed is like doing this like gaslighting, manipulative type stuff, like really, really, asserting his intentions to help Brian. And this is gonna come, it's gonna be important later on. So Brian goes to Adam Pearce's office. He's like, "Adam, I need another shot against Roman. I need to make it to WrestleMania. I know I can beat him if nobody gets involved in the match. You got to find a way to keep Jey Uso out." Obviously, Roman, Paul, and Jay hear about the conversation. They come in. They're like, you know, as much as Brian, thinks that he can beat me, and as much as he wants this to be a fair match without my cousin, I actually think my cousin is the perfect person to be involved. So I want him to be the special enforcer for the match. And Pierce says, "Okay, if Jey Uso can beat Daniel Bryan, Jey Uso will be the special enforcer." Obviously, their first match goes to double count out. So then they go into the cage. Bryan beats Jey Uso, and so he keeps Jey Uso from being involved in the match. Now we get to a point where they're at the contract signing, and Jey Uso, Roman, and Paul Heyman concoct this plan where they're like, we have information on you, Adam Pearce, where you could potentially lose your job. unless you make Jey Uso the special enforcer. And just as Adam Pearce is about to announce it, Edge comes out again. He's like, Brian, I know you don't want me involved in your match, but again, I want to make sure that you get a fair chance to win this title. I don't care who I'm facing at WrestleMania. I've got my match already. I want to make sure you get a fair shot. So I'm gonna face Jey Uso. The winner will be the special enforcer. Roman and Paul are cocky as fuck. They're like, oh, of course, with us there, of course Jay is gonna win. Jay is gonna be special enforcer. So it's Jey Uso versus Edge. Roman and Paul, ringside. Jay looks like he's about to win. Brian comes out. Brian successfully helps Edge to beat Jey Uso because he really believed that Edge has his best intentions at heart. So there was some slight doubt within them, but Brian chooses to believe him because he's a good-hearted guy. So Brian helps Edge win. We get to Fastlane. Roman and Brian going at it. Edge special enforcer. Ref bump, of course. A chair gets involved. Roman's about to use it. Edge comes in, grabs the chair out of his hands. Roman's like walking up to Edge, like, what are you doing? Get out. Like, you're not supposed to be here. Edge picks up the chair, is about to swing it. Roman ducks. Edge hits Brian. Brian's down. Edge, Roman spears Edge, throws him out of the ring, pins Brian. Roman's walking out with the title, but Brian sits up, looks at Edge, and he's super pissed. So you know when SmackDown comes, it's gonna be some shit. So, no, I already did Chamber. So SmackDown comes. Brian calls out Edge again. He's like, all right, man, you got involved in my Elimination Chamber World title match. You know, you said you had my best intentions at heart. I trusted you. I lost. Fastlane, you didn't even have to come in. Like it was set up for me to win, but you got involved again. I lost the match again. I don't know what my WrestleMania plans are. And Edge is like, Brian, I'm sorry, but you had two opportunities to get it done. If you couldn't get it done in those two opportunities, maybe this just isn't for you. Maybe you should try to get into Big E and Apollo's Intercontinental title match. Maybe you should, do something. Like we're gonna be back in front of fans. Maybe you can host WrestleMania. Like Edge is really gaslighting him, like some crazy shit. Brian gets pissed and he just walks out of the ring. And Roman Reigns appears on the screen and he's laughing. He's giggling. He's doing his Roman laugh, like, yeah, go ahead, host WrestleMania. You're not good enough to come at the tribal chief. So Brian walks to the back. Later on in the show, Edge goes to talk to Brian. He's like, hey, I'm sorry for what I said, man. I understand how much this means to you, but you know how much this means to me too. And I just, I just want to have my match at WrestleMania. And I really hope that you root for me the way that I'm rooting for you. Brian's looking super, super sad about it. And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. And then the following week comes, Brian does his whole thing where he like puts the chair in the ring and is like, I'm not leaving this ring until I get into that match. He pitches all the ideas of, night one is Roman Edge, night two is me and the winner, pitches all these different things. And Adam Pearce says, you know what, Brian, I do fully agree with you that you deserve a fair shot. And you've been wrestling amazing this year. And I like ratings. I like money. So I'm going to insert you into their match and make it a triple threat match. Roman's pissed. Edge like almost reacts, but then he like restrains himself. And then this is where the master manipulator really, really starts to come out. So I don't know if y'all remember that segment where Edge goes to Roman's locker room and he talks to him and he's like, yo, we need to handle this guy. Like now this guy is like in our match. The main event was mine and yours. Like it was already set. It was already going to be great. The ratings are WrestleMania is sold out. Ratings, money, like what? How much more do you need? It's already sold out. Roman's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So whatever you want to do, I'm like, we can do it. But then Edge also goes to talk to Brian, and he's like, well, you're in our match now. I've got I didn't necessarily love the way that you went about getting into it. I thought that you were better than that, but I know that you're not better than me. But Roman has been on this reign of terror. You saw what he did to Kevin Owens. You saw what he did to Braun Strowman. You saw what he's done to Adam Pearce and Shinsuke Nakamura and everyone. So you and I could team up and we could get Roman out of here. And then this match could really just be between you and I. And Brian's thinking about it. He's like, Okay. So Edge is trying to make both of them his ally. All the while, his real intent is to make things as easy for himself as possible to win the title. So we get to WrestleMania, all the pageantry, the entrances, all that stuff. The match starts. Edge looks at Roman. Roman looks at Edge and smirks, pretty much signaling like, I thought about it, but I don't really need you. So then Edge looks at Brian. Brian looks at Edge. They both nod and they both go attack Roman. They beat the shit out of him. Keeps getting involved. They're beating the shit out of Jay. Gets to a point where like Roman is really damaged and like, it seems like there's really a chance of like he could lose. So Edge goes out, clears off the announce table. Brian's going in. Brian hits him with a running knee. Looks like he's about to hit him with a submission. And then Edge looks at him. He's like, wait, whoa. So Edge runs in with a steel pipe, hits Brian, pulls Brian down. And Brian's like, what the hell? Like, I thought we were working together. Edge's like, yeah, but like you going and trying to win the match behind my back. What the fuck? So then Edge and Brian go at it crazy. And this is where his master manipulating was effective, but also fucked up. Him and Brian, with this simmering tension over the last couple months, they got so focused on one another that they end up forgetting about the fact that they're dealing with a fucking 99 rated WWE 2K player. So Edge and Brian weaken each other, spear there, running knee here, yes kicks there, fucking DDTs there, all that good stuff. Edge and Brian are just cooking one another. And it looks like there's a chance that Edge might actually win this match. He sets up in the corner for the spear, spears Brian, goes down to pin him. Roman Reigns, chair to the back of Edge, hits Brian with the chair, hits Brian with the chair again. Brian's just laying there like he's cooked, he's knocked out. And then he sees Edge lying down. He's like, yeah, I have something for you. Goes to get another chair, puts a chair under Edge's head. Concerto. The stack stays the same. He still does the stack. Brian is on the bottom because at the end of the day, Brian was the one who just kind of, forced his way into this. Like the main problem was with Edge. So Roman wanted to make sure that he was on top of Edge and he really got Edge out of there. Roman wins. And that's it, man. That's it.
I like that one. DB has way more motivation in your version. My favorite thing about all three of ours is how we all kept the stack.
It's such a moment, bro.
That wasn't going nowhere. That stack wasn't going nowhere, my boy.
Real talk, that's like whoever came up with that, that's like one of the best ideas they've had in a long time. In terms of like match ending, like that was just iconic. It's almost crazy that like Brock Lesnar never did that. Like that's almost what's crazier is that like they had never let someone else do it before because that seems like such a Brock Lesnar thing. But like yeah, no, he didn't. Like when it happened, you were just like Armon, you were like, oh my god, he's about to pin both. Like it was like shocking. Like
yeah,
so it's like to change that would be like changing the ending of Remember the Titans. It's like why mess with perfection?
Exactly. But yes, those are our rewrites. So listeners, of course, let us know what you would do different about the Roman Edge, Daniel Bryan love triangle. And yeah, all that good stuff. And next week we will be getting into the first full year and everything that happens after the tribal chief truly establishes himself as that nigga. We got the return of Jimmy Uso coming up. We got John Cena coming into the picture. We got Brock Lesnar returns. We got some big stuff coming up. So the fun is only getting more fun the more we go. But I think for this first period of the Roman Reigns reign, it's definitely been a blast so far. So let's jump into our bi-weekly coverage of some recent storylines, some recent things that are happening within the WWE or beyond, if you would like to. So who wants to start in our not so pre-write?
I'll start. I have two. The first one's more of just like an observation. And this is like, I know I've kind of joked about it. Other people have too. It's not like an original idea. Triple H loves a faction with all the gold. But like Judgment Day, because it made me think of it because we're talking about Edge. Judgment Day has been in WWE for 2 years. And like they have a lot of championships. Like they have a world champion. They have 2 women's world champions in multiple tag championships. And it's like crazy to think about like the Judgment Day is more decorated than some like incredibly pop-in factions. Like, or like no shade, but like no one from LWO has sniffed a title, besides Ray. Like, and they've been around forever. No one from New
Ooh,
Testament. Like even the New Day has never had titles all at once like this. Like it's just impressive to think about sometimes when you think about Edge. Like, yeah, he did birth the Judgment Day, and then they surpassed him. Like it's almost unanimously they've done so much more than when he was here. That's kind of weird to think about. But the thing I really want to talk about was we had our debut of Uncle Howdy um against Chad Gable, which the match was cool and the feud's cool. I do kind of still wish it wasn't Chad Gable. It just feels weird that they're feeding him to them. But I had a realization during the match, and I think and I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. Like, don't get me wrong, but one of the kind of hangups with Bray Wyatt sometimes it was that it was a little too fake Undertaking. It was like, this could be like an Undertaker storyline, but it's not. It's like scary. And watching Uncle Howdy wrestle, I was like, you know what? I don't think he should try and be Undertaker, but to keep this kind of for whatever similar, I think he could be like Kane. And I think that's a better place for especially like Bo Dallas to wrestle because I think Undertaker kind of like in this comparison, he was the Bray Wyatt, which is kind of funny because like him and Bray are real brothers and Kane and Undertaker are like fake brothers. But like Undertaker was the star. Like he was just singular, like there just will never be another Undertaker. And one thing that really worked in Kane's favor, especially like once he became more of a single star with the mask off and stuff, is they didn't try and make him the Undertaker. Like he was still scary, but he wasn't like wearing all black and doing the lights off same exact thing. Like he had his own scary stuff. And I think they should do that with Uncle Howdy, especially because when you look at him in the mask and you kind of see Bo's build, it's like, yeah, I could see a kind of like powerhouse, scary guy. And I don't think you should try and be Bray Wyatt 2.0. Like that's the big thing that I hope they try not to do. And it doesn't seem like they are doing, but like watching that match, I'm like, yeah, you have your own style, your own stuff. And yeah, you can do Sister Abigail and like the little crab walked in, whatever. Like, but I hope they do what's similar like they did with Kane and his storylines and his character and just kind of give you your own stuff. And I wasn't blown away by the match, but I did kind of see where I'm like, okay, I see where you can build off this and turn it into an interesting thing. That's not the Wyatt Family 2.0. And to date, they haven't done the Wyatt Family 2.0, but I'm just encouraged every time they have a big moment and they don't like completely herb it. Because, like, unfortunately, as we've seen with Karrion Cross in the New Testament, if you don't nail that lift off, it just can be really hard to pick up traction.
First of all, be respectful to the Final Testament. They're awesome.
I
But
do love
secondly,
AOP. You're not wrong.
AOP's
we just
cool,
need to
man.
calm it
Cross is
down with the mirror
cool.
pics. Just a little less.
Scarlet cool, man. They all cool. Scarlet and Carrie and mad horny, bro. But what I will say about Howdy, I love that he's selling. I
Yeah.
love that whether it's Bo Dallas or it's Uncle Howdy, they are vulnerable. Like they can be damaged. Like that wasn't a match like Seth versus Fiend or
No,
Brian versus
exactly.
Fiend. Like Howdy is selling. And so I think as long as you can do all the spooky shit, but Chad Gable is a very capable wrestler, and you don't want to weaken anything that he does by having him go up against someone who's all powerful, whose size doesn't convey being all powerful. So I think that H and the creative team are doing completely right in having these people one have longish matches
Yeah.
and also just be able to be weakened. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and it was funny that you came up with that analogy because that's like that stood out to me the most about Bo slash Howdy when I was watching that match. I was watching this and I was like, he's selling. He also just like looks better, like working in the ring right now.
Yeah.
And when I think about Kane and Undertaker, Kane was the more athletic one. He was the one that could do like a lot more, and he sold a lot harder than the Undertaker would. If you go back and you watch matches where Kane gets punched in the face, this motherfucker be like he be flying like way back, and he
Bro,
don't fall, but he lets his head fly all the way back
hey,
and
like
shit.
we joke about it, but Kane was in movies and he's a politician. Bro, he's an actor. Like, yeah, Kane is like Undertaker has a one-man show, but like I don't agree with any of Glenn, whatever his name is, politics. But clearly, like he's able to like act in a certain level. So yeah, 100%. Like when he was in his bag, like with the towel and the chains, like Kane was like just as menacing, but in his own way. So I 100% agree with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mine's actually like it's kind of like down that same lane, to be honest. It's the thing I loved about Howdy and the Six is that outside of the ring, I had so much to dig into. And then once we got into the ring, I was like, I hope we don't lose that. And I wasn't like bored during that match at all. I was fine with the finish, everything, you know. But particularly I loved how Bo was working. And for the longest time, especially when I got back into wrestling like around like 2015, 2016 or so, it was obvious. It was like this person has stardom. Their personality, they can sell anything or whatever, hand them anything, they can sell anything, but they might not be able to work as good. This person can work hard as fuck, no personality at all, whatever. And then some people who could do like a little bit of both. I think in the last few weeks, I've seen so much less distinction amongst those like different parallels. Like that the spectrum doesn't seem as wide as it used to be to me, and that goes from the bottom of the card all the way to the top of the card, bro. I did not see myself seeing myself being convinced by an Ivy Nile promo this soon. I didn't, and
Bro,
she's there now.
it's like
That's my baby.
in the
That's my baby,
NBA.
yo. I love me some Ivy now, bro. She's special. Like
Mhm.
and not just me being attracted to her tiny ass, but like
Yeah,
she's actually like a good worker,
yeah, she's an
and
athlete.
she's got that like I don't know how to describe it. It's not like mom energy, but it's almost like big sis type energy
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that
with the
mean mama
creeds,
bear type shit.
and then she
yeah,
brings that meanness to it too. Like yeah, my mama
yeah.
bear. That's or like big sis bear. I love
Yeah,
that.
She
she gonna do everything that Ivory. I wished they would have done with Ivory. Like I remember being a kid and being like, "No, this girl actually looks fucking strong. Why y'all have her doing silly shit?"
Yeah. She like can hold her own with the creeds when they're physically bigger. But what I was gonna say is I 100% agree with you, and it like makes me think of like basketball. If you guys watch basketball, you'll know I'm like 30ish, and like when we were kids watching basketball, there are people who like could not do things. Like it would be like, oh, he's playing and he cannot shoot the basketball. Like
Why are you doing that
doesn't
to
know how.
Why are you doing that to Kwame Brown, bro?
So I'm saying, bro,
If I saw Peja Stojakovic trying to take it full court dribbling, I'm like, bitch,
bro,
if you don't get in a corner and wait for
put
somebody to pass it to you,
give the ball back to him, Kyle Korver. What are you doing? And whereas now it's like there you don't see that. Like people are far much more well-rounded. Like you said, the average basketball player in the NBA is just better than they were 20 years ago. And that's the same thing with the wrestler, where it's like you as a kid, bro, you would watch some matches and you'd be like, the way like part of the reason it sounds kind of not to discredit him, but it's like part of the reason why The Rock is The Rock is because there was also like fucking Val Venus, Tommy Dreamer an hour before. Like you were so starved that once the stars hit, you were like, oh my fucking god. And whereas like nowadays it's like, yeah, bro. That ice, like for example, that IC tournament with all those triple threat matches, you could not do that in like 2000 and like what or like 1996. You couldn't do it. Like you would get into like Spike Dudley Tajiri territory. No shade to Tajiri. I love the tarantula, but like you never thought he was going to win the Intercontinental Championship. Whereas now you can legitimately have four triple threats, and you're like, yeah, I can see any of them really win. Like the average and the actual wrestler can do so much more. Like you said, yeah, there were people when we were growing up could not talk at all. Like don't speak. Not even like are bad on the mic. Like oh, this person does not talk. Where it's like you couldn't really have like an Umaga now. Like you couldn't have a great Khali who just never ever spoke. People would think it was weird. Like you have to have more to your game now.
quote a Steve Blackman promo right now.
I never even watched any of his stuff, so I couldn't do that.
So I'm saying, like, you couldn't have wrestlers like that. You couldn't have a judo man wrestler. Like, you gotta talk. Like, no shade. I'm happy for the ball representation, but that's what happened to Ricochet. Like, it was just like he couldn't round out his game and get that character part down. Not to say he can't ever do it, but it just seemed like it never hit with
He
WWE, unfortunately.
he probably can't ever do it. Like
Couldn't tell.
if it's not there now, and he's been wrestling for a long time, it's not happening for him. It's
I'm
not.
just
Same.
But hey,
But he's a great worker. Think about how good of a worker
Oh,
Ricochet is.
fantastic, absolutely. And now he's in a place where being a character don't really fucking matter.
At
You can go
all,
out,
nigga, at all.
have your hashtag good matches every week, pop all those internet wrestling fans and Meltzer and message boards. And
He came out and immediately did flippy shit. Like immediately did
bro,
flippy shit.
he was never stopping that. But think about what we were talking about earlier. Jack Swagger won an elimination chamber. If Ricochet was wrestling in like 2011, he might be a world champion. Like no silly shit. If he was wrestling in 2009, one of those
him and Dolph would have
Alberto
like
Rio,
had a good feud.
They might have put a mask on fucking Ricochet and tried to make him the next Rey Mysterio because they tried with Sin Cara. They tried with a lot of
house
niggas.
Party, bro. They tried
you know what?
They wanted it so bad.
Hey, Trev, put this mask on real quick, bro.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, Ricochet it was the bench is too deep. Where the average, you're never gonna see a big cast.
And that's not even the worst part about it. The worst part about it is Shorty all alone on the road now, man. Damn.
That's crazy.
I wonder when he's gonna be there to talk to her.
You're sick. I fully agree, and I think kind of like what I said with the tournament. This tournament really showcases it because there's always those people who complain about some people not being on TV, and it's like at the end of the day, the priorities on TV are like we see now. Unfortunately, for some people, is building up a pure fusion collective, but also like the important stories. And so a tournament like this, where you could just throw anyone into a triple threat match, showcase all of the talent that you have, remind them, yeah, like we do important stuff with Jey Uso. Just calm down, but be patient. Jey Uso's gonna have his moment, stuff like that. And then you could put him in the ring with a Kofi Kingston. Kofi will work in singles, which is cool. You got the Miz. You had the other one with Pete Dunne. Who else in that match? It was Pete Dunne, Xavier Woods. Oh no, it was Pete Dunne, Woods, and the Miz, and it was Jey Uso, Kofi, and Karrion Kross. It's like, like you could put all these people in the ring together and like show what they can do, and it works. So it's two-pronged. But yeah, man, it's enjoyable to watch, and it honestly makes it very funny when I go back and watch old pay-per-views from back in the day. And granted, I wasn't ordering a lot of them, so like a lot of them I still haven't seen. But you're kind of just sitting there watching some trash until you get to the main event or the matches you really want to see. But it's like now sitting through 3 hours of Raw, there's not too many bathroom break matches, which is great. So yeah, man, they're really doing a great job at maximizing the stardom that they have and also maximizing the work rate and putting people in positions where they can be elevated. And sometimes that comes with a pure fusion collective, being on the other side of the ring from someone who you really like. For my not so pre-write, I have to present an unpopular opinion here. At Bash in Berlin this upcoming weekend, there will be a strap match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. I'm pretty confident CM Punk is going to win that. That's not what this unpopular opinion has to do with. I've recalled some discussions on the timeline and even in our Discord where people have been excited at the fact that the strap match will be the four corners one, the one where you got to smack all four corners to win. And for me, it's a little weird to do the four corner strap match when there's not an objective to it. Like if it's not a title match, it don't make much sense to me. So if you go back to like Eddie Guerrero versus JBL at the Great American Bash in 2004, I want to say, like that made sense because like you're completing an objective to get something. If I just hate you and we're tied together, why am I going to show how much I hate you by brutalizing you and then smacking four corners like that? It personally, it doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like playing Call of Duty and you're doing free for all or you're doing like search and destroy. It's like, this is just shoot and kill niggas. This is shoot and kill niggas, but with an objective. Like you have to plant the bomb or you have to defuse the bomb. And it's like in some situations, if you just want to go, be a one-man army, you do free for all. If you want to be more like tactical and like feel more gratified in winning something, you do search and destroy. So I personally, when the strap match is on the table, I was like, yeah, like you should just do the one where they're both tied at the arm and like the winner has to pin, like you got to pin or submit the guy to lose. Like that makes more sense to me because like you can just brutalize a nigga, like just beat him up. It's basically like a street fight or a no holds barred match, but you're tied together. Like it just makes it doesn't make sense to me to be like, yo, I hate you so much, I'm about to go tap these four corners, bro.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how much I hate you. That's how much I hate you. I'm gonna go tap these fucking corners to prove it. It's weird to me. Very,
it,
it's a little weird to me.
that's funny. I didn't realize that's the kind of match it was. It reminds me of like if it's like, yeah, bro, and we're gonna blow off this blood feud with the ladder match. It's like you're gonna climb something? I thought you guys didn't like each other. Or like even when it would be like we're gonna have a steel cage match, but it was like the early 2000s steel cage matches where it was just about escaping, and it's like, so you guys hate each other as you're gonna run away from each other like that. It doesn't convey the same emotion. Like I 100% agree with you. And yeah, it is like I get you guys love to like finesse these kind of wrestling matches. And low key, I think we've all learned that like while these European and like foreign shows are real pay-per-views, they're really like long flex commercials where they're just trying to put cool shit out there. Like most championships don't change hands. It's really just like fodder. So like it sounds bad, but like I'm glad they're doing it in Berlin and not at Bad Blood. And I'll leave
Yeah.
it at that.
I feel the same way. It's like I don't I feel like the four corners part is one of those things where if you were to ask them like psychologically why that matters, it's like, well, you got two guys who each think that the other one is just like, trash and that they're better than the other one. So like on top of the whole strap gimmick and being able to beat the shit out of each other, it's like not only that, I'm also just gonna beat you to a pulp, leave you there, and on top of that, I'm tapping these four corners, dancing on your grave type shit. But it's like that has like to Armand's point, that has like more of a when I'm being petty, I'm being fun. I might like be angry a little bit, but that's way more out of fun. And it feels like the corners is more of a petty thing where it's like I just beat your ass, now watch me go tap these four corners or whatever. So it's again like that doesn't speak to hate as much as just like dancing on a nigga grave. But again, it's like if you wanted to dance on a nigga grave, like throw that nigga through a hell in a cell. You know what I mean? There's better ways to dance on a nigga grave. So yeah, that is one of them things. But at the end of the day, as soon as I saw it, like as soon as I knew that it was coming, I was just like, CM Punk is happy as fuck to be back in WWE, isn't he?
Yeah.
He couldn't wait to get this shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's cool to see. I'm not mad at it. I just think the nature of the feud is it's just a little weird. If they was competing over the title, you would not hear a single complaint from me. I'm not
Right.
even complaining now. I'm just like, because I see people like being like, nah, this is the match they should have always had. I'm like, really? Really? Like, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
think too, you got to remember we grew up in an era where it was like, oh, I don't like you. Let's have an Inferno casket match. Like they were just like doing crazy shit. So like in my mind, it's like, oh, you hate him? Bury him alive. Kill him. Like I don't want to see you tap corners. I want to see you kill him. I want to see you put him in an ambulance and close both doors. Like, and so I think we also just like in our mind, like those kind of personal feuds have certain kinds of matches. And then you see this, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool, but like I'm more used to violence than just like you being quicker to these corners than him. Like, it's not the same.
You know what else I miss? And I feel like this is why the crowds chant for it all the time. When's the last time we've seen just a normal tables match? I feel like we haven't seen a tables match in a long time. And there's something that I just get such a kick out of a nigga putting a nigga through a table, bro.
What
There's nothing like it.
wasn't it that one the TLC program where Cena accidentally put somebody through a table or something? Didn't that happen?
That
Or
was
was it
when that was when Sheamus beat him
Sheamus?
for the title in like 2009.
I
But
feel
I feel like the most recent tables match we had was like 2019 Natty versus like Ruby Riot. Like I feel like we haven't seen a tables
I
match
was
since
gonna
then.
say
no,
the
Someone
last tables match was a women's match, if I'm not
we've
mistaken.
had
yeah.
I'm not saying we haven't since I'm just saying like I feel like that sort of thing happened more than once and they stopped doing them because I feel like I agree with you like especially for like title matches and the Dudley Boys were a bigger thing but like growing up tables were a thing like it was like people had tables matches all the time but I think there was
Yeah.
like the Big Show one where he kind of slipped and then the Sheamus thing and
Yeah.
I think it got to a point where they were just like there's too many variables here. We're like, let's just do
Yeah.
TLC fully and leave the tables alone. But I agree with you. We haven't seen just like a pure tables match, especially a singles tables match in years. Not that I
Yeah.
can think
Yeah.
of. Outside
it's
of
been a
maybe like a
minute.
house show or some shit. I don't
It's
know.
been a minute, and I'm like, yo, these crowds are chanting for them every single SmackDown or Raw. We want tables. We want tables, and tables get pulled out during whatever type of match. Cool, but like, yo, just give me one. Like Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed. That'd be a perfect opportunity to do a tables match. Like looking at what we saw on Monday. Put them niggas in a table match, bro. Come on, let's do it.
Because it's not
Let's
just
do it.
about like being big and destructive. There's also like the being cunning enough to like, oh wait, I'm on a table. Let me get the fuck off the table. Oh wait, that table needs to be positioned here. Like, oh, let me get, there's a strategic part to a tables match that I love, which is that I can be winning, but as soon as I go through that table, I lost. So like it's not just about beating this nigga ass. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Can I tell you something really stupid too? And I'm sorry, this is like so minor and like just how my brain works. I feel like part of the problem might be too that like this is just my brain, but I feel like a lot of our current wrestlers' move sets don't lend themselves to table spots. Like we don't have a lot of big off top rope finishers of the main eventers, and then we also like low key a lot of our main eventers spear people as their fucking finisher. So like we don't have a lot of like power bomb choke slams. Like we have Damien, but like I feel like it would be having to like configure two wrestlers who would do it in a way that would be cool. Because like it was one thing was oh my pedigree you through a table or rock bottom or choke slam, but it's like you gonna BFT him through a table. That doesn't really seem like that makes any fucking sense, you know? Or even like crossroads, you can't really do on a table. Like, I think
Cody
I'm just
Cutter
like
through the table would be stupid.
Cody Cutter would see,
That'd be nuts.
and he would do it, and he would somehow
of
figure out.
course.
But I just think that's part of it too, where it's like, yeah, I think we strangely just have a odd group of main eventers who like it wouldn't make sense to have like Roman Reigns v I don't fucking know Solo Sikoa in a tables match. You'd be like, Samoan spike him through the fucking table. Like, what the hell is he gonna do?
They both gonna try to Uranagi.
He got the spinning solo too, so he could do that. He got the spinning Uranagi.
Who don't?
A lot of niggas do Uranagis.
At this point, who don't? Like,
there's a couple wrestling moves that are being holed out to the highest
frog
productivity.
splash,
super kicks
are being spammed so crazy. Where it's like, I remember when Rob Van Dam did a frog splash, it meant something. Now people are doing it as like a transition move. It's like, oh, I guess this means nothing to you now.
You think Shawn Michaels shed a tear every time you see a nigga do like a super kick like a minute into the match, and then they have like 20 more minutes after that?
That used to be Jay's like signature before the splash, and then now he added the spear, so his super kick is just like regular. Like this nigga be doing that during like brawls, like pull apart brawls.
Charlotte has a spear as like a transition, like semi finisher.
She has a spear, a big boot. She got all the OG moves that people don't do no more.
Yeah, no niggas not doing big boot, which is crazy with like Damian Priest. Like niggas is not keeping a finisher.
Damian Priest does a jumping super kick.
But niggas not test though. They not test with that big boot though.
Clean.
That's facts.
They don't have the pants for it. That's the issue. They need the pants with the flare at the bottom.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that is our public episode. Now, of course, if you want to tap into all of the madness that we will get into on our Patreon, make sure that you subscribe to the A Show RNC, patreon.com/the A Show RNC to hear everything. Bonus content from us and bonus content from the entire network. So